SWV, Sisters with Voices, had the R&B genre in a chokehold throughout the 90s, to the tune of 9 top 10 hits. The trio also had an around-the-way style and look directly inspired by the streets they grew up on, and deeply admired by fans. But over time, the stark differences in each member's personality that they once used to propel them to success became their undoing. Their story begins in the Bronx, New York. Leanne "Lily" Lyons, born July 17, 1973, grew up there with 2 sisters, a taxi driver father and housekeeper mother. Music was the glue that held everyone together. She first thought she could make a go of things professionally after seeing fellow 90s R&B singer Shanice perform on Star Search. However, life took a turn for the worse for her at age 10 when her parents separated. Now all the responsibility to stay afloat fell on her mother, who often came up short. Seeing her mother struggle so much made Lily grow up fast. Maybe too fast. She latched on to older men, possibly believing they could provide her with financial security. Instead, she ended up with 2 children by the age of 17. To get her through the tough times, she leaned on her love for music. One day, the idea came to her to start a girl group. She called up her friend Cheryl "Coco" Gamble, born June 13, 1970 in the Bronx, and asked her to be a part of it. Coco had music in her DNA as the daughter of session singer Tiba Gamble. By the time she was 3, Coco was already a member of a children's choir led by her mother. To complete the trio, Coco decided to reach out to her friend Tamara "Taj" Johnson, born April 29, 1971 in Brooklyn, New York. Taj discovered her talent for singing in elementary school when she had to audition for the chorus. Sadly, after losing both of her parents at a young age, her father when she was 9 and her mother when she was 14, life became quite difficult to navigate. She was able to stay with her aunts in Brooklyn for a while before having a disastrous experience living with a boyfriend. She was still figuring out what next steps to take in her life when she got the call from Coco. Fun fact, SWV actually had 4 members at one point. In 2023, Taj posted the evidence on her Instagram. She didn't mention or tag the other member, but a comment Lily made clarified that the name of the other person is Samantha. It's unclear exactly who she is, how she came to be in the group, or why she disappeared. Even the group's TV One Unsung episode in 2017 made no mention of her at all. After putting their demo together, their manager at the time, Maureen Singleton, sent them out in boxes with birthday cards attached in an attempt to grab the attention of the record label executives. They all said no. Well, all except one. Kenny Ortiz, A&R executive at RCA Records, loved what he heard. He set up a time to meet the ladies and, of course, hear them sing live. One song was all it took, and before they knew it, SWV had a record deal. Fun fact, the trio's original name was TLC, using the first letters of their names. Of course, we know now that another girl group already had that name. So, after receiving a cease and desist, SWV had to come up with something else. The group's debut album, It's About Time, dropped in 1992. 5 singles were released, all contributing to its triple platinum success. Right Here, I'm So Into You, Weak, a remix version of Right Here called Right Here Human Nature, featuring samples of Michael Jackson's hit Human Nature, and You're Always on My Mind. Weak, the most successful of the bunch, captured the #1 spot on both the R&B and Hot 100 charts. As soon as the music video for their debut single Right Here dropped, everyone was able to see what SWV was working with. Their style was on full display and paid homage to the people they saw around them in their neighborhood, especially Coco with those nails. And if you're wondering, yes, they were real. Fun fact, Taj's rap on the original version of Right Here was the first one she ever wrote. Following the success of that album, SWV appeared on the soundtrack for the 1994 sports drama film Above the Rim with the track Anything. It became a top 10 R&B hit and top 20 pop hit. That same year, they released the remixes, which went gold. As the group's star rose higher though, most of the light seemed to shine on Coco, while pushing Taj and Lily to the sidelines, a la Diana Ross and the Supremes. According to Coco, as she claimed in the group's Unsung episode, it was never her intent to steal the limelight. What was really going on behind the scenes was that she was asked to do a lot of extra work she felt she shouldn't have to being in a group. After they were finished recording a song, she was asked to come back into the studio to cover Taj and Lili's vocals. Lili quickly chimed in to say that it was probably a case of Coco being taken advantage of and being the chosen one to add any extra touches on a track since she was there anyway doing her lead vocals. Nevertheless, as a result, Coco was given a bigger cut of the group's royalties. For their next studio album though, Taj and Lili knew, for their own good, they needed to contribute more. While working on the project, Coco took a bit of a break to have her first child with boyfriend Ishmael Butler, better known as Butterfly, of hip-hop group Diggable Planets. SWV's second album, titled New Beginning, was released in 1996. It went platinum off the success of the first single, You're the One, which peaked at number 5 on the Hot 100 and topped the R&B chart, as well as the second single, Use Your Heart, which made it into the top 10 on the R&B chart and top 30 on the pop chart. So just when it seemed like things were back on track, their label cut ties with Kenny Ortiz and started not feeling the group too much anymore either. As a result, SWV's next album, Release Some Tension, was rushed, coming out the following year. It was a significant departure from their earlier work, featuring a bevy of guest appearances by rappers Lil' Kim, Missy Elliott, Snoop Dogg, E40, and Sean Diddy Combs. He can forget the music videos now. He about to be behind bars. It went gold and features the singles Can We, Someone, Lose My Cool, and their last top 10 R&B hit to date, Rain. Two fun facts about the album. Can We was eventually included on SWV's third album after originally being a hit earlier in the year when it was included on the soundtrack to the 1997 film Booty Call. And Rain was actually supposed to go to Brandy. It was written by producer Brian Alexander Morgan and meant for Brandy's 1998 Never Say Never album, but her label, Atlantic Records, passed on it. A Special Christmas, SWV's first and to date only holiday album featuring both cover versions and original material, was also released in 1997. Around this time, the same grievances that reared their ugly head in the past began to divide the group once more. To emphasize the division, Taj and Lili had separate management from Coco. The turning point came when Coco began recording tracks with other artists, fueling suspicions that she was getting ready to go solo. She even claimed that their record label always wanted to work with just her from the beginning, but she opted to stay in the group. How the group eventually split is still a matter of fierce debate. According to Taj, she was told by a third party that Coco no longer wanted to speak to either her or Lili. According to Coco, Lili was the one to jump ship first, leaving her and Taj to do shows as a duo. According to Lili, Taj called her to inform her that Coco was leaving to go solo. Apparently, Lili figured if Coco didn't want to speak to her, there wasn't any point in showing up for work, so she didn't. SWV officially split in 1998. RCA released Lili and Taj from their contracts while Coco continued on as a solo artist. Her first solo album, titled Hot Coco, dropped in the summer of 1999. While the first single, Sunshine, did reach a top 40 position on the R&B chart, neither the album nor the singles garnered her the same mainstream success she had with SWV. Fun fact, Sunshine was dedicated to Coco's firstborn son, Jazz. She began working on a second solo album in early 2001, but the label closed their black music division and the project was shelved. 2 years later, she married gospel producer and drummer for Israel and New Breed, Big Mike Clemens. Together, they have a son named Jalen. The couple divorced in 2018 after 15 years of marriage. Taj had a very different post-SWV experience. She had no idea what to do next with her life, but she had to think fast, since she needed money, having spent the last near decade taking care of her whole family. She ended up with a minimum wage paying job at a coffee house and clung to a couple of abusive boyfriends for support. Unfortunately, there weren't any royalties to keep her afloat. Later, she went back to school and received a degree in marketing. In 2004, she married former NFL running back Eddie George. They had a son the following year. Taj is also stepmother to Eddie's son from a previous relationship. Lili, however, hit the lowest low of them all. One day, after finding herself down to her last $100, she decided to call her sisters to tell them goodbye, preparing to take her own life. The first one she got on the phone cried with her and simply told her to come home. Lily did just that and began to rebuild her life. She got a job in accounts receivable and continued working there for several years. Fun fact, while Lily has never been married, she has been engaged several times. One of those times was to DJ, radio personality, actor, musician, and former MTV VJ, Ed Lover. During SWV's Breakfast Club interview in 2014, Coco spilled the beans about Lily destroying his car and causing thousands of dollars in damage after finding out he cheated on her.
I bust the windows out your car.
After nearly 8 years apart, Coco, Lily, and Taj decided to put their differences aside and reunite SWV in 2005. Deep down, they knew that they would accomplish a lot more together than apart. They talked, cried, and screamed at each other for the first few meetups, but after that, they settled down and got focused. In 2012, the group released their first album in 15 years, titled I Missed Us. The following year, they announced that they would be getting their own reality series that would detail their lives as a group and individually, professionally, and personally. It would also address their 1998 breakup and their subsequent reunion. The show, titled SWV Reunited, premiered in January 2014 with a second season that came out later that summer. As promised, the show documented their trust issues with one another, their acrimonious split, and their attempt to rebuild their friendships and their brand. It also showcased their professional endeavors and struggles, including touring and recording a comeback album, trying to get out of a record contract, and disputes with their road manager. Other issues highlighted included Coco's reluctance to record secular music after her foray into gospel, Taj's health issues, and Lily's tumultuous relationship with her daughter. SWV's fifth album, and last to date, titled Still, was released in 2016. The next year, the group received the Lady of Soul Award at the 2017 Soul Train Awards, their first award ever. Even though their last reality show experience left a bad taste in their mouth, the group decided to give it another try when, in 2019, they partnered with hip-hop trio Salt and Peppa in the creation of a new reality series called Ladies' Night. As part of their virtual artist battles birthed in 2020, Versus hosted a pre-Mother's Day event featuring both SWV and Escape on May 8, 2021. As DJ Spinderella and DJ A1 held it down on the ones and twos, the likes of Missy Elliott, Pharrell Williams, Brandy, and more met up in the comments to crack jokes, reminisce, and share happy feelings with the hundreds of thousands of viewers who watched on Instagram Live. For the last several years, the members have made mention of wanting to produce their own biopic. Then, in 2022, the Jasmine brand reported that their story had officially been picked up by Lifetime. The group went for round 3 in the reality TV show world when they signed on to do a 6-part limited series with fellow R&B girl group Escape in 2023. SWV would later express regret in doing the show, believing the relationship between the groups had been soiled due to disrespect. One positive thing that came out of doing the show, for Coco specifically, is allowing her to become an outspoken advocate for mental health after being diagnosed with bipolar disorder herself in 2017. She sought help after having manic episodes and dark thoughts of harming other people. Thankfully, she's been able to control her mood swings with medication, and her mental health is now in a good place. The 2023 Black Music Honors gave the ladies another beautiful acknowledgement of their career accomplishments with an incredible tribute. It was clear by the heartfelt speeches Coco, Lily, and Taj gave that they couldn't have felt more honored, appreciated, and respected for their body of work. In March 2024, Escape and SWV announced that they were hitting the road together this summer. Fellow 90s R&B greats Maya, Total, and 702 will join the lineup as supporting acts. The Queens of R&B tour is a statement to the power of what can be accomplished when women come together with respect, admiration, and undeniable talent. The highly anticipated tour promises to be an unforgettable experience to captivate audiences across dozens of cities nationwide. To conclude 2024's Black Music Month celebration at the Tiny Desk in June, SWV came through with an epic performance. Not only did they bring the house down, but the live crowd couldn't help but sing along as well, proving the group's timeless stamp on the music industry 30 years later.